Hi there and welcome, Riccardo Gioggi here, and today we'll talk about melodic soloing and how to develop a good instinct for melodies. But today's video is gonna be different from my usual. And before we start with the actual content, with the actual lesson, there's something I want to say. So if you prefer to skip this part and go straight to the guitar lesson, no problem. Please use the bar below. I am using no script for my videos, so I'm going to talk in a very spontaneous way. Today, now, are 2 p.m. more or less. And it's Sunday, October 11th, and it has been 5 days since the loss of Eddie Van Halen. Before I start diving in the content, which is the reason probably you are here, and I thank you for this, I realized I just can't go on with this video without saying something about Eddie. I never personally met him. For me, as much as you probably, Van Halen was just a hero, a superhero, and he's the guy who totally changed the electric guitar forever. Without him, without his ideas and playing and innovations, I probably wouldn't be here with this piece of wood in my hands, being a musician and teaching and writing music and composing and producing music and living the life I am living today. He had an incredible impact in the life of any modern guitar player. Even if you don't like Van Halen songs, there is something Eddie Van Halen did that now, in this moment, lies in your playing. I felt the need to say these words about him, and since this is a guitar channel and everything I do here is 99% based on electric guitar, modern guitar playing, teaching, guitar techniques and all of that stuff, I just want to say thank you, Eddie. Thanks for everything you did. Thanks for your legacy. So before I start crying like a little girl, let's play. Let's do what Eddie loved. And now let's start with the lesson. Let's commit to our goals, to this instrument, and let's play the sadness away. Thank you. Okay guys, let's start and let's play. Let's talk about melodic soloing and how to achieve a good sense of melody and how to incorporate melodies in your songs or your solos or your own ideas. And I will use the solo I did play in the opening song as an example for showing you some concepts. I will leave at the end of this video the open backing track for you to practice, use it, create your own melodies over it. Tip number 1. Melodic playing is not about playing long notes. This is very, very important. If you want to play good melodies, you have to create movement, you have to create interest in the listener. And countless times I noticed this misconception among guitar players. Playing something like this. This is not melodic. This is nothing. This is boring. Okay? If you feel you are stuck in this area, in this gray area, don't worry. To leave this weird zone is easier than you might think. And this is something that brings me to the tip number 2. The tip number 2 is follow your instinct. When I say follow your instinct, I mean don't overthink and just be yourself. Play what comes in your mind. I mean, the main melody in the opening song you just listened is this idea, This melodic idea literally is the first thing that came up to me the first time I played over the backing track I created for this lesson. In my experience, when I had to track a guitar solo, the very first idea that comes into my mind is usually the starting point of the actual guitar solo I'm going to record. So just follow your ideas. And of course, the more you practice how to follow your ideas, the more ideas you will have. And speaking in a more technical way, it's very useful to know the chord tones. You always have to know the harmony of the song you're playing. For instance, the chord progression in the opening song is D major, G major. Those are the first two chords. Let's say this is the song, just two chords, D and G. I have to know what are the chord tones in the D major chord and what are the chord tones in the G major chord. As you probably know, in the D major chord we have D, F sharp and A, and in the G major chord we have G, B and D. What a lot of students ask to me at this point of the explanation is, do I have to play only chord tones? No, the answer is no. If you will play only chord tones, more or less anything will sound like an arpeggio, or to be honest, more like an exercise. Yes, that's okay, but this is not that much interesting to listen, at least for me. What I played in the opening melody over the D chord is this melody is based on 90% on chord tones. I started with this A chord tone, then G, F sharp chord tone, D chord tone, A chord tone, D again, E, and this bending from E to F sharp, another chord tone. Okay, the point is, I played the G, I played an E, I played something that was off the D major triad. There is another thing you have to consider when you build your melodic solo: repeating your melodies. For instance, I'm not sure about it, but I guess I repeated the main melody 4 times, at least. 2 times at the beginning, and a couple of other times in the ending part, but 1 octave lower. So, repeating it's very useful to develop a sense of melody. For instance, I don't know, I'm going to improvise. This is radical improvisation. This is the speed, let's say. That was actually pretty nice, wasn't it? The tip number 4 is use rests and breathe. When I say breathe, I mean it figuratively. Imagine playing and improvising like just talking. When we talk, we need to breathe. Somewhere in the middle of the speech, we have to breathe. And sometimes we just take rests. And of course, when we speak, this is something we naturally do. It's part of our way to communicate with other human beings. But when we play, we tend to forget this aspect of communication. So I really like to insert and use, of course, by instinct. I don't plan that kind of stuff, but I absolutely like to use rests in a musical way and to breathe inside my guitar parts. And let me play again for you the first melody. Rest. So, as you noticed, I used breathing moments here and there in the melody. This is something that, for me at least, keeps the attention high and even in the player, because at least for me this approach is way more interesting instead of playing a bunch of notes, one after another, and so on. Tip number 5, this is my personal opinion, but for me good melodies equals good notes and rhythm. Just think about maybe 3 or 5 good guitar melodies. It could be a riff, it could be a guitar solo, anything you want. You will notice that besides a good choice of notes, there is for sure a good sense of rhythm, a groove, something that drives the melody. I notice this, the more I think rhythmically in my brain, the more melodic is my playing. For instance, let's take again the opening melody of the song. Pa, 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 pa. Okay? This is the rhythmic pattern of this melody. Ta, 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 ta. Okay, let's keep the rhythmic pattern and let's change the key, the melody, everything. I just improvised. None of the melodies I just played has nothing to do directly with the first melody of the song. They sounded different, they were different actually, but I kept the same rhythmic pattern. Try this. Think about a rhythmic pattern, even something very basic, very easy. I don't know, something like ta 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 ta. Okay? This is no rocket science, this is something very plain and basic. Ta 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 ta. Okay. Let's say, I don't know, B minor. I used that rhythmic pattern, and that was really an improvisation. I'm not kidding. I just improvised something here on the spot, and yeah, it worked. Maybe it was not a masterpiece. Yes, I agree with you, but it was something good. So I recommend you to pay attention to the rhythmic aspect of your melodies. Tip number 6: good melodic playing equals good notes, rhythm, and expression. You need expression. You need to make your notes live. Let me play again the first melody of the song with no expressions at all. No vibratos, no bendings, no slides, no dynamics from the right hand, nothing. Just the notes. Let's see what happens. Sounds horrible. And I don't know what to say. It just give me I don't feel I don't feel good in playing like this. What basically I did is just playing melody with a determined rhythm pattern in it, but I absolutely didn't play with any expression. It just sounded like the worst MIDI instrument. Sounds dull. So, what gives life to your playing? Bendings, vibrato, how you pick, how you hold your guitar. Basically, the missing aspect in this way of playing is the personality. For instance, I started with a bending and with a wide vibrato here on the F sharp. Maybe a bit of vibrato also on the G. Can you see the difference? This is completely different. Same notes, different result. So my advice is to play any note with purpose. Control your guitar, control any aspect of how you play. And in the end, making things interesting to play and to listen. Thank you so much for watching this lesson. I hope you found it interesting and useful. If you enjoyed this lesson, please subscribe to the channel and don't forget to activate the notification bell. In this way you'll be constantly updated about the new videos, new lessons and gear reviews and all of that stuff. Thanks again, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!